In this lesson, we are going to learn how to find the vertex. This is a continuation video of section 8.3. In this set, you are going to have 4 videos. Hopefully, you've already watched the video, What Does A Do? Now we're going to find the vertex. Then you'll learn how to graph quadratics. And then finally, matching graphs with their equations is the 4th video. So, the vertex, it is either the highest or the lowest point on your graph. So, for example, if your graph is upward, if it's pointing upward, then your vertex is going to be the lowest point on your graph. If your graph is pointing downward, your vertex is going to be the highest point on your graph. So the formula for your vertex, we know the formula x equals negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. That is known as our quadratic formula. Okay, so we learned in our quadratic formula that there was another formula that was hidden in there. And that's right here. And hopefully you guys remember this as the discriminant. Okay? So what's left over is right here. The leftover is how you find your vertex. So negative b over 2a is going to be how you find the x value of your vertex. And then, in order to find the y value, because it's a point on a graph, so that means it's going to be an ordered pair, meaning you have an x value and a y value. So to find that y value, we're going to take the number we found for our x and plug it back into our original equation. If you don't understand, it's okay because we are going to do a lot of practice. One thing you do need to note is that your vertex is a point on your graph, so that means that it is always an ordered pair, meaning you're always going to have a set of parentheses, you're going to have a comma, and then an x and a y value. So let's go ahead and look at this Finding the Vertex handout. You should have this one if you were in class this day. So let's look at number 1. The very first thing that we are going to want to do is identify our A, B, and C. That is step 1. So we learned in our What Does A Do video that it's f of x equals ax squared plus bx plus c. That was the formula that we learned. So a is our number in front of the x squared, so a is 2. B is the number in front of x, which is negative 4. And c is the number that's by itself, which is 5. And just as a little bit of a review, if you remember, the number that's by itself is also known as your y-intercept. Okay? So, in order to find our vertex, so negative b over 2a. So, remember, whenever you are plugging in a number for a variable, you should always surround it with those parentheses. So, negative, and then b is negative 4. So it's actually asking for the opposite of negative 4 over 2a. So the opposite of negative 4 is 4. 2 times 2 is 4. And 4 over 4 gives us 1. So I'm going to put it up here. 1 is our x value of number 1. So now we have to find the y value. Remember, it's always an ordered pair. So we're going to take our original equation here, and we're going to plug in our 1. So I have 2, and then 1 squared minus 4 times 1 plus 5. Guys, I apologize for any background noise that you guys can hear right now. Alright, so remember your order of operations tells you that you have to evaluate these exponents first before you can multiply here. So we have to do 1 squared first, which is going to give us 1. Negative 4 times 1 is negative 4. And then we're going to bring down that plus 5. 2 times 1 is 2. Bring everything else down. 2 minus 4 is negative 2. And then negative 2 plus 5 is 3. So our ordered pair for number 1 is going to be 1, 3. Let's see if I can make this a little bit bigger. It's as big as I can make it. So now let's look at number 2. First, you should identify your A, B, and C. A is 2, B is negative 16, and C is 34. So I'm going to plug in our negative B over 2A. So that gives me the opposite of negative 16, which gives us a positive 16. And then 2 times 2 is 4. 16 divided by 4 is 4. So that is our x value of our vertex. So now to find our y value, we're going to plug it into our original equation. So instead of our x, we're going to write 4. Here again, plus 34. So remember, we have to take care of the exponents first before we can multiply. So we're going to bring that 2 down. 4 squared is 16. Bring everything else down. Now we can take care of the multiplication. So 2 times 16 is 32. Negative 16 times 4 is negative 64. Bring down our 34 down here. So 32 minus 64 is negative 32. And then negative 32 plus 34 gives us a positive 2. So our vertex for number 2 is going to be 4, 2. Now for number 3, identify your A, B, and C. A is negative 7, B is 0, and C is 0. So negative B over 2A. There is no such thing as a negative 0, so we're going to say 0 over negative 14. And whenever you divide 0 by a number, that's going to give us 0. So now we're going, So now we're going to plug in our 0 for our x. So we're going to square this first. 0 squared gives us 0. Negative 7 times 0 is also 0. So our ordered pair for our vertex on number 3 is 0, 0. Looking at number 4, identify your A, B, and C, where A is 3, B is negative 30, and C is 76. So we've got negative B over 2A. So the opposite of negative 30 is 30. 2 times 3 is 6. And 30 divided by 6 is 5. Now we plug it back in. And we have to do our exponents first, so we're going to bring that 3 down. 5 squared is 25. Negative 30 times 5 is negative 150. 3 times 25 is 75. 75 minus 150 is negative 75. Plus 76 is going to give us a positive 1. So on number 4, you should get the ordered pair 5, 1. On number 5, we have A, B, and C, where A is 2, B is 4, and C is negative 2. So we have negative B over 2A. So the opposite of 4 is negative 4, and 2 times 2 is 4. So negative 4 divided by 4 is negative 1. So we get a negative 1 for our x value for number 5. Now we plug that negative 1 into our original equation. So do your exponents first before you can multiply. So negative 1 squared means negative 1 times negative 1, which is positive 1. 4 times negative 1 is negative 4. And 2 times 1 is 2. So 2 minus 4 is negative 2. And negative 2 minus 2 is negative 4. So on number 5, our vertex is negative 1, negative 4. All right, now looking at number 6, A is 3, B is negative 12, and then C is a positive 2. So we have negative B over 2A. So the opposite of negative 12 is going to give us a positive 12. 2 times 3 is 6. So 12 divided by 6 is 2. Okay. So then we're going to plug it back in to our original equation. So do your exponents first. So 2 squared is 4. 3 times 4 is 12. Negative 12 times 2 is negative 24. 12 minus 24 is negative 12. Negative 12 plus 2 is negative 10. So we should have 2 negative 10 for number 6. Okay. So now let's move on to the second page of this handout. So we're going to identify our A, B, and C first. A is 3, B is 24, C is 47. So we have negative B over 2A. So that's negative 24 divided by 6, which is negative 4. And then we plug this back into our original equation. So exponents first. Negative 4 squared is 16. Three times 16 is 48. 24 times negative 4 is going to give me negative 96. Bring down your 47. So 48 minus 96. It's going to give us a negative 48. And negative 48 plus 47 gives us negative 1. So our ordered pair here is negative 4, negative 1. Now number 8 is a little bit tricky. Remember the formula is f of x equals ax squared plus bx plus c. And so a is the number in front of your x squared. So in this instance, a is 1. B is the number in front of your x. But notice here on number 8 that there is no b. So we're going to leave that blank. And then for c, it's always the number by itself, so it would be negative 1. So you've got to be very careful as to which numbers they give you. So we get negative b over 2a. So that gives us 0 over 2, which is 0. And then we plug that into our original equation. 0 squared is 0. And then 0 minus 1 is negative 1. So we will get 0, negative 1 for our vertex for number 8. For number 9, we are going to identify our A, B, and C first. A is 1, B is 0, C is negative 3. So negative B over 2A. So 0 divided by 2, which is going to give us a 0, just like we got on number 8. And then we have to plug this back in to our original equation to get our answer of negative 3. So your vertex for number 9 is 0, negative 3. Number 10, A is 2, B is 16, C is 29. So we have negative B over 2A. So that gives us a negative 16 over 4, which is a negative 4. Then we plug it back in to our original equation. So we do our exponents first. Negative 4 squared gives us a positive 16. 2 times 16 is going to give us 32. 16 times negative 4 is negative 64. And bring down your 29. So 32 minus 64 is negative 32. And then negative 32 plus 29 is negative 3. So our vertex on number 10 is negative 4, negative 3. Looking at number 11, A is 1, B is negative 12, C is 43. So we have negative B over 2A. So the opposite of negative 12 is 12. 2 times 1 is 2. And then 2 divided by 12 is 6. I'm sorry, 12 divided by 2 is 6. Then we plug that 6 in place of our x values. We're going to use our exponents first. So 6 squared is 36. And then negative 12 times 6 is going to give us negative 72 plus 43. 36 minus 72 is negative 36. And then negative 36 plus 43 is a positive 7. So our vertex here is going to give us a 6, 7 for number 12. Number 11, right there, 6 and 7. All right, looking at number 12, we have A, B, and C. A is negative 2, B is negative 8, C is negative 12. So we have negative B over 2A. So the opposite of negative 8 is 8. 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. And 8 divided by negative 4 is negative 2. Then we plug that into our original equation. So negative 2 times negative 2 squared minus 8 times negative 2 minus 12. So we're going to do our exponents first. So negative 2 squared is a positive 4. Negative 2 times 4 is negative 8. Negative 8 times negative 2 is positive 16 minus 12. So negative 8 plus 16 is 8. And 8 minus 12 is negative 4. Okay, so now let's look at problem number 13. A, B, and C. That's what we're going to identify first. So A is going to give us a 1, B is going to give us a 0, C is going to give us a 7. Remember to reference this formula here to know which one is your A, which one is your B, and which one is your C. So we have negative B over 2A, which gives us 0 divided by 2, which is 0. Then we plug that in to our original equation. So 0 squared is 0. 0 plus 7 is 7. So our vertex for number 13 is 0, 7. Now moving on to the last problem on this page. Identify your A, your B, and your C first, where A is 4, B is negative 4, and C is 97. So negative B over 2A. So the opposite of negative 4 is going to give us a 4. And then 2 times 4 is 8. And 4 divided by 8 is going to give us a number of 1/2. Don't lose yourself because you see that it's a fraction. We can do this. So I am actually going to call in reinforcements of scratch paper for this one. So our original problem was f of x equals 4x squared minus 4x plus 97, and we have 1/2 for our x so far. So guys, whenever you see that you're going to have a little more of a difficult problem, I highly recommend going to a space on your paper where you can write bigger. I've noticed I've made more mistakes when I try and write smaller. So I'm going to plug in my 1/2 into all of my x's. Okay, so I need to do the exponents first. So I'm going to bring my 4 down. So 1/2 times 1/2 gives me 1/4. Because 1 times 1 is 1, 2 times 2 is 4. I'm going to bring everything else down. We're taking this one step at a time. So now I'm going to multiply here. I'm going to make this a 4/1 just so it's easier for me to visually see. So that gives me a 4/4. 4 times 1 is 4. 1 times 4 is 4. Same thing here. 4 times 1 is 4. 1 times 2 is 2. Okay. Now before we move on, we see we can simplify these fractions. 4 divided by 4 is 1. 4 divided by 2 is 2 plus 97. So 1 minus 2 is -1. -1 plus 97 is a 96. So our vertex here is going to give us 1/2 96. Okay. So I hope that this video has helped you. Just as a little bit of review, not that page. So don't forget that we still have 2 more videos left of this lesson. So we learned what does A do first. Now we've learned finding the vertex. Next you're going to watch the graphing quadratics video, then you'll end with matching graphs with equations. I hope this has helped you and I wish you the best of luck.